Welcome to the Mastering the Mind podcast. Today we welcome Macauley Owen to the podcast. Macauley is a professional boxer. He has boxed for 10 years now and was awarded a scholarship at Coventry University while studying a degree in sport and exercise science.
Throughout his time at university, he has won the Senior Elite Lightweight Gold at the Haringey Box Cup twice, which is the biggest box cup in Europe, a national title and 2 gold medals at the British University Championships. Since he has completed a master's degree in sport and exercise nutrition, after 75 amateur fights, he decided to turn professional after receiving a contract from Queensberry Promotions when his debut fight last week. So let's welcome Macauley to the podcast.
Yo.
Right.
What's up, man?
Hi, guys.
You good?
How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Very good. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. In a bit of a dead setup today because I was in a rush back from work. I didn't have time to travel home, so I brought my podcast over with me to my mum's. So I'm in a different setup, but here we are. Best time of the week. You had a busy day?
Yeah, it's been mad. Just been moving out. Just final touches. I've given the house a clean myself and that, so it's also a bit mad in the minute, getting all new stuff for the house.
Are you moving into a house?
Yeah, just moving out with my dad's now, finally.
Are you on your own or are you moving in with a, yeah?
Yeah, moving by myself, yeah.
Nice. You looking forward to it?
Oh, buzzing, mate. My own space and that. Can't wait.
Did you move away during your uni or?
Yeah. And then obviously come back because of COVID and that, and then finally post-COVID moving out. Time to step to the plate and take things on myself, innit?
Yeah, 100%. That's something. Go on.
I was gonna say, like, I can completely relate. Like, going to uni and then having to come back to the parents is never easy. Like, adapting to their kind of lifestyle and stuff. Ollie, you're lucky. It's been a couple of years now that you're.
Yeah, that's just something I just couldn't do it. Like, I moved straight. Luckily, I've got a girlfriend, so like I moved in with her straight away. And yeah, like last 2 or 3 years, I've been out of uni. Really, I've been living away from home and just loving it. I don't think I could go back to being told what to do, like all the jobs and that around the house. Like, I don't even mind doing it. It's just when I'm told to do something, I just can't do it.
It's just a weird dynamic because like you're a grown man and then I mean like they're telling you to do like chores and stuff like around the house. Like fair play, you have to contribute, but it's like it's just weird, isn't it?
I suppose if you've got younger siblings, you can just dust it off to them.
Yeah, I'm the youngest, but no one else is here, so just me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, in terms of the podcast, a great place we like to start, and for the listeners to get to know who you are, talk us through your journey to date. So from growing up to where you are now, who is Macauley Owen?
Little old me, mate. So growing up and that, obviously went through schools. Obviously went through primary schools and this and that, and ended up going to secondary school. I was quite a naughty kid. Got asked to leave one secondary school, joined another one, and that's when I decided to take up boxing as well. I was quite an angry kid, you see. I used to like to fight and that.
Okay.
So I think that's why this school didn't like me so much. But yeah, as soon as I started boxing, then obviously my parents agreed to let me try it out. That seemed to settle my nerve, really. You learn to channel all your aggression or your anger into something else, and it just sorted me out, really. And I finished school with some good GCSEs and that, good enough to get me into college. Went to sixth form, studied psychology and obviously BTEC sport. And then halfway through that, I decided to go to a boxing academy, ACE in Birmingham, which means I was able to box half the day and then study the other half, which was obviously very beneficial for my boxing.
Yeah.
And from there, really, boxing's just taken over. Got good enough grades to get into uni. I had a gap year where I went to work for a year. I was labouring, earning money, obviously. Thought that was the best route for me, but halfway through doing that, I realised maybe not like that.
What was you doing?
I was resurfacing the roads and resurfacing footpaths.
Okay.
Unlike tarmacking.
Yeah, I did a bit of that when I come back from winters during uni. I'd do like drop curbs and tarmacking and things like that. And it's a killer.
Graft.
It is. I still graft now. I own a gardening company, and so that's sort of what I do to earn money whilst I'm still on my way up in the psychology. But it sort of brings me back down to earth a little bit. Keeps me humble. So I like it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's good, man. It's good to keep yourself active as well, isn't it? But
yeah,
I always said if I had like a proper job as such, I would like to be a labourer, because just being active, being out, you have a laugh with your mates at the same time. You ain't stuck in an office. Like,
that's what I mean.
It's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, because at the moment I've got my cousin on board with me, and ever since I got him in, it's like we're just bantering all day and earning money whilst doing it, and it's just a laugh. Normally, like getting up, because I'm getting up at like 5:30 in the morning, and it's like I used to hate it, but now, especially with someone like that you actually like, it's absolutely class. I love it.
That's the thing, though, mate. When you start working with someone you don't like,
no. No, but yeah. So carrying on from that, from your labouring.
Yeah. So obviously decided I fancied a career in sport. Really, I loved sport my whole life throughout school, playing football. Played football at a decent level, then went on to rugby. So I've been surrounded by sport my whole life, and then obviously chose boxing. I chose to drop off football and rugby and just take on boxing. So yeah, I decided to go to uni. Obviously did sports science undergrad at Coventry University. Managed to get myself on a scholarship scheme there, so they took care of all my sporting needs. So nutrition, psychology, S&C, everything was sorted. So I just lived that life through my undergrad, and then decided to do sports nutrition as a master's, because I wanted to take it a step forward. It was more so for myself, for obviously for my own career. I thought, what better degree, what better knowledge to gain than obviously sports nutrition, especially in a combat sport where you got to make weight all the time. Spent too long yo-yo dieting, like putting on a load of weight, crashing it off because you don't know how to lose it properly. So yeah, the knowledge I gained through that has set me ahead, like especially for my own career. So yeah, finished my masters. At the end of masters, COVID struck. So yeah, managed to get my dissertation done during COVID, during the lockdown. And then yeah, from there, decided to turn professional. The amateur scene was pretty much closed. There was no like competition coming up, no like really foreseeable competitions coming up. So decided to start building towards the professional game, because there's a big transition there. And yeah, finally last week, got my debut. So yeah, got year and a half out the ring, got the debut, and yeah, got the first round stoppage. So I'll get that in there as well.
Massive congratulations. Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you.
No, that's
But just taking it back, so who kind of introduced you to boxing? Was it someone close, or did someone tell you to try out boxing to channel all that energy, or how did that come about?
No, I wanted to. Like I always wanted to. I always spoke with my dad, and always wanted to. Like I said, I liked to fight as a kid. So what better thing to do than boxing? And he didn't let me do it, obviously, because I was quite naughty outside, so he didn't think it was right for me. Yeah, thought I might use it in the wrong way, and then yeah, eventually, yeah, he just let me do it. Like you hear about all the legends of the names, like you have the Ricky Hattons when you're growing up and that, and the Manny Pacquiao's and that, and like I just love to watch people fight. I love to fight, so you know, it was just a godsend that he finally let me go and start.
Yeah.
And,
Did you find getting into a boxing gym helped you become more disciplined outside of the gym in terms of your fighting?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, from that day, really, I'm not a big not a fighter outside the ring. Do you know what I mean? I have a lot of people. I have a lot of people respect for people inside the ring and outside the ring. Like I know how much damage it can do, hitting someone outside the ring. And never mind that, you hurt your hands. It's just pointless. Like fighting outside the ring, but. Yeah, definitely. It channeled all my aggression. Like obviously, I spent day in, day out. I was at the gym 5 days a week. My dad used to take me and sit there, watch me while I trained. So probably 6 days a week. Even on the weekend, I'd be training. And then obviously play football on a Sunday, so I probably wouldn't do boxing. But yeah, just channeled everything. I didn't have anywhere near as much energy to be aggressive, really. So I was knackered from boxing. So you don't have the energy to misbehave and that.
Well, we've got an up-and-coming boxer here, John Braid. He's recently got into boxing, having lessons in that. How you find it, John?
Yes, it's actually harder than I thought. Like there's so much technique involved, and you have to think of so many things at once. So like foot placement, like putting your fist, like it's just small things like that you don't notice when you're watching a boxing match. So like I have so much respect now for boxers. Like it's tough. It's tough. Honestly, it's a killer. It's a killer, but it's really fun to learn a new sport like that.
For anyone like trying to get into boxing, I can understand, because to be fair, I'm quite the same. Like I'd love to go to a boxing gym, but for an outsider, going into a boxing gym can be quite intimidating. Would you give any sort of advice for someone trying to get into boxing about these sort of boxing gyms?
Yeah, just jump in head first. Like like, honestly, the boxers might seem big and scary and violent, but they're not. Like honestly, the best people I've met in life is in the boxing gym. You have people from every single corner of the world in a boxing gym. You have the rich people, the poor people, from every nation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone just seems to just click when they get in the boxing ring. That's why I love it so much there. I've met people who are literally millionaires in the gym. I've met people who've literally got nothing to their name, but just being in the boxing, it's a community in itself. It does just bring everyone together. So anybody thinking, oh yeah, it's a little bit intimidating, that, just chuck yourself in there, speak to them, like, because they're the nicest lads. They might be the toughest lads, the hardest lads you might know, but they're also the nicest lads and the ones that are going to take care of you, the ones that look after you. So honestly, like, the boxing gym's the place to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. From the outside looking in, it looks like every boxing gym sort of got them right values about them, that is a foundation for anything in life, not just boxing, Did you have any inspirations growing up in boxing? You talk about Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton. Was there any others that were your main sort of inspirations?
I could say that those two names are really the ones for me. Ricky Hatton as such, because he's such a big name for the British cult, like British people, and obviously his fans and support. It's just like mesmerising, isn't it? Like, to have that many people there supporting you. Bringing the experience for both Ricky Hatton and for the fans, like that's what the dream is, really. Yeah. That's got to realise myself as well. Like, even I wasn't, don't get me wrong, I wasn't selling anywhere near as many tickets to Ricky Hatton, but to see the look on people's faces when they come to support you, and for them to have had that experience through something that you were doing, is just like that's very, very rewarding. Like,
hey, you're only at the start. You may be selling them tickets soonish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially getting on a podcast like this.
Come on, lads.
Oh god! But in terms of the other sports you were into when you was a kid, was any of them sort of competing that you'd want to go and have a career in, or was it just mainly boxing for you?
No, like, to be fair, I love football right the way through. And I started playing rugby when I was in year 7, I think, when secondary school. And then I was quite a chubby kid, so they stuck me in hooker. They stuck me.
Okay, yeah. Little lad in hooker. It's sweat. Every hooker I've met.
Yeah, I loved it. I soon fell in love with that as well. I just love sport, like any sport. As a kid, obviously football was my main one. As a decent level, but what probably wasn't quick enough. Probably, but I played left back. So
yeah. Left back in the changing rooms.
Yeah, no, I love that as well, to be fair. But yeah, rugby was probably one that I picked up on and enjoyed the more. But I had back surgery. I broke my back when I was a kid. So the pain through that, like, obviously I could just deal with it in football. I just had pains in my legs and knees and hips. I dealt with it, and then when I played rugby, I had to stop playing rugby because the pain just come too much in my hips. So I'd end up coming off like 10 minutes into the match because it was just too much. And then, but the doctors in hospital didn't know what was wrong with me, so they was writing off as like arthritis, this and that, growing pains. And then eventually they, when I couldn't do no sport because I was in that much pain, that like mum had to put me into bed, like physically lift my legs up for me because I couldn't lift, like turn around to the bed. They finally put me through a full body MRI, and they found 2 stress fractures in my back, and the disc had actually slipped forward. So it was time for some surgery so I could carry on playing sport. So yeah, that was why I had to stop boxing and stop rugby. And then after that, when I come back, I decided to just pursue boxing because I was a little bit more determined. I saw a career in that rather than.
How old were you when you got the back injury?
they're not actually so sure because I went so long going through with it. Yeah, it's a bit mad when I tell people I broke my back, like, and just carried on through it. But they reckon it was either when I was a kid, like I've either stretched too far and like overstretched and just like cracked it because the bones are still obviously quite soft, or playing football, like, you know, taking the throw-ins. I had the longest throw as a kid, so I used to take throw-ins all the time, and they reckon like doing that repetitive, like arch of the back and then obviously taking the throw-in could have done the stress fractures that way as well.
Jesus.
Wow, yeah, so when I was 15, I had surgery on that, so I had to step away from boxing for the year. Obviously, get that better first. Walking around with a back brace here, there, and everywhere. Sitting at the boxing shows, watching, thinking I want to be boxing. I couldn't even like, run. So yeah.
How did you kind of cope with that period, like that injury period? Because, you know, for someone like you that's in love with sports, that was always active, did you find it tough at the time to kind of have to step back and watch maybe others? You know?
Yeah, very. Like, I sat there at championships. I've got pictures now of me sat front row at the championships watching these kids box, thinking, I should be boxing today. But at the same time, it was a bit of a blessing because I was doing my GCSE at the same time, so I took that time to you know, knuckle down and get good grades, so I could go to college and had the chance to go to uni. You know.
Yeah. Do you have any problems with it now, or is it all sorted?
Nah, it's all good. I have to say, it's all good. From boxing medical, so it's all good.
Solid.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a quick question. So, you know, from doing all those sports, so football, rugby, did you learn anything from those sports that you could like transfer to boxing? Because at a young age, we're all encouraged to try out different sports because we learn, you know, aspects of different sports like teamwork, etc. Did you kind of experience that or not so much?
Yeah, it's strange you mentioned teamwork, because obviously rugby and football are team sports, so I was very team orientated growing up. I loved being part of a team, playing with obviously 11 with the football, and more like in the rugby it's real good. And yeah, it was kind of strange to separate it and go towards boxing where it is an individual sport, but like at the same sense I prefer it because, like I've always said, like you've only got yourself to rely on. Like if something goes right, it's down to you. If something goes wrong, it's probably down to you. It's how hard you prep it. You can prepare yourself for the fight. Get the shape you get yourself on. You're not relying on anyone else. You can't blame anyone else. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, it's good. From football, obviously, you just learn skills, don't you? Like football and rugby, both you learn different skills, whether it's changing direction, things like that. Like it's all. It goes across sport. That's why I rate strength conditioning so much now, because obviously you've got your movement patterns. You learn those. You build strength in certain directions. You know. So yeah. So it kind of like crosses. I'm very lucky to have played like football and rugby. Obviously to build that baseline, like hand-eye coordination and this and that. So yeah.
For sure. Before we move on, you talked earlier about obviously your inspiration being like Ricky Hatton, and you talked about yo-yo dieting, like going from one end to the other. He was renowned for that. And obviously you've done your master's in nutrition. I'm just wondering what sort of, not necessarily plan, but like lifestyle do you do with nutrition? Is it counting calories, or like how do you go about staying fit year round?
Yeah, I mean, I've put on a little bit of weight post fight now. Like,
Don't blame you.
Like, I just enjoyed myself for a few days, so it's super a little bit. But now, like, it's one of them with nutrition, isn't it? Where you can calorie count, and obviously if you keep calories under a certain number, but then you're not getting the right. You can look at it like you're not getting the right macros. You can literally eat all your calories through carbs and fuel all your training, but your muscles getting the right stimulus for the protein synthesis. So you have to look like that. I think because I've done it for so long now myself, I don't necessarily count the calories, but I know what I'm eating. Yeah. Purely on portion sizes. A lot of the foods I eat are already like pre-packaged, like you packet rice, you packet beans and stuff like that, and the lentils. Use a lot of them because I know like how many calories is supposed to be in it. I know what kind of macros is in it. All my chickens were portioned out. All my fishes use tins of tuna because it's already portioned out. Just convenient. And I do find that like once you know what you're eating and the portion size you need to be eating, and you know what sessions are coming up, what your goals are. It kind of like it fits in. So I would say to people, like, if you can get a hand on it early on, it definitely put you in the best stead moving forward with your career in sport.
Okay. Yeah, I just found that super interesting because obviously Ricky Hatton, he'd go from one extreme to the other, especially prepping for fights. How have you found? Have you ever had to really cut a load of weight for a fight, or have you sort of been always trim?
Nah, I do. I have cut. That's why I did sports nutrition at my master's, because I really wanted to like nip that in the bud. You end up, rather than boxing, enjoying boxing for the boxing element, you end up making weight, and you end up boxing it rather than enjoying the sport. You end up making weight all the time. It's just draining. Like it's absolutely. It takes the enjoyment away from boxing.
Yeah.
So luckily, I know what I'm doing now, and I know to keep the calories in check, so you don't put on a lot of weight. Obviously, you can enjoy yourself with food and that. There was one time, especially when I first started uni, I cut about 5 kilos in 2 weeks, and it was like it just sapped me. Like I went from looking all right, healthy, to looking like a crackhead, basically.
Yeah, like I seen some videos like of the worst cuts ever, and it's like that Conor McGregor fight where he comes in and it's like his cheeks are just, oh my god. I find it's just so unhealthy, man. Oh man, I don't know how they do it. How have you found like, do you know when they cut a load of weight and then they refeed after? What sort of the weight difference there from when you weigh in to when they refeed? How much difference do you think that makes in a fight?
How much difference do I think? This is something I studied in my master's year, so it's quite a good topic. For striking sport, the research suggests that it doesn't make that much difference towards winning, towards that outcome of a win. It doesn't actually make that much difference, because obviously you're striking. Whereas grappling sports, where you're actually using the weight as a contributor, like that has an association towards the winning. But myself, I still think going into competition, it might just be a boxing like cultural thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like in myself as well. Like I just regained 3 kilos going into competition, getting into my last fight, and I know full well I was a lot stronger. And I will continue to cut weight, and I will continue to use rapid weight loss methods to make weight the whole way through my career, because I know when I get back in the ring and I'm 3-4 kilos heavier, I do feel stronger, and I do feel fuller in myself. You got that little bit more weight to push up against the person when you're inside close. Do you know what I mean? Like when they come in close for the clinch and that, you can push them away a little bit more. I feel like you got a little bit more power behind the shot. I'd rather be walking around 64 kilos and box it like 60, like 59, and cut down to that, and then regain and get back in the ring, knowing that I'm refueled and ready to go.
I seen your refueling snack was a Jaffa cakes.
Come on.
Can't go wrong.
I do obviously. I do a little bit of sports nutrition on the side for a few athletes, and I have them all. Their pre-performance meal is Jaffa cakes, mate. Jaffa cakes and banana. Get it down.
Yeah, banana.
Yeah, they are elite. Like,
oh god,
has to be orange as well. I had somebody say to me the other day that they had some raspberry Jaffa cakes or something like that. I said, nah, they're not the ones. Like, no, that has to be orange.
You can't be doing that.
Yeah. Can't relate. They don't have that here in Belgium. So
wow.
Are they good? Am I missing out, lads?
You never had a Jaffa cake?
Never. I've never had one. Do you remember? I think I had one and I gave it to you because I'm so generous.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Who am I friends with?
Hey, that needs to be top of your bucket list. Like, get one of them.
Just send me over, guys. Send me one over to Belgium. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to your university career. How did you feel then when you got offered this scholarship by Coventry University?
Yeah, it was good. It was the right thing for me at that time. Obviously, to go to uni was something in itself, but to be able to be supported with, like, for my athletic development as well, that was massive to me. It's probably a big contributing factor as to why I went to uni, like knowing that I was going to be sorted, knowing that I was going to be able to progress as a boxer, because it like drinking and that, like, it's not for me. Might go for a drink with my mates and that, like, I have a couple, but like it's just not well suited to me. I wanted to develop as a boxer. Like, even working away, we used to stay away in hotels and that. I was still finding the clubs wherever we were staying at, so I could carry on boxing. So I didn't go to uni to live that uni lifestyle. I went to uni, obviously, and the scholarship scheme just like boosted me really. So I made it a dead set that I was going to go there because I was going to be able to be a better athlete by the time I finished.
Did you kind of find it hard to balance the demands of uni with boxing, or not so much?
No, I did. I did really. It wasn't easy. It's like some people go out and drink all the time, and then obviously struggle to pick up their uni work. Whereas I was just trained all the time and struggled to pick up my uni work. So it was one of them. But no, it is tough, and sometimes I did have to drop off the pace with the boxing. Sometimes I did have to there was in my final year of my undergrad, I didn't enter the nationals because I was doing my dissertation and I wanted to do well in that. I didn't want to go to uni and then not get good grades and come out obviously with boxing better but not have good grades. So I took a step back with the boxing, didn't go in the nationals, and finished with a decent grade. So that was one thing I did have to do. I couldn't. I probably could have, but I might not get. I've got such a good grade, and then I might have regretted that. So
yeah, you talk a lot about knuckling down on your GCSEs. You talk about obviously you've done an undergrad, you've done a master's. Why is education so important to you? Have you got something planned for the future? Why is it so important for you?
Good question, really. No, I just wanted to. I'm one of these people that strives to do the best I can in things like that. Like whether it's boxing, whether it was education, I wanted to do the best I can. I'm quite critical of myself. So if I didn't get a good grade, I'd probably be quite frustrated myself. So that's probably why. You probably find a lot with athletes, don't you? They have that mindset that they want to do the best and be the best. So that probably a factor as to why I decided to knuckle down and do it right.
Definitely. Going to Loughborough, like me and John have seen firsthand, some of the athletes that were on our course are probably some of the most proactive students we've ever seen. John was in a group with Holly Bradshaw. And what was she like, John? Unbelievable.
Yeah, she was basically leading the group. It was crazy. She really wanted that sense of control, but like not in a negative way. It was good. Like it if anything, it helped us so much, having that responsibility. She really enjoyed having that responsibility. She was responsible for making all the presentation slides, etc., and it looked fantastic. So that it transfers, the same thing transfers into education. So
you do find that it does, whether it's education, whether it's your sporting performance, you do want to do the best, you do want to get good grades, and like you say, her having the control, she's in control of what she's doing, so that's the same whether it's anywhere, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you thrive.
What was your dissertation on?
Surprisingly, combat sport and weightlifting, the relationship between rapid weight loss methods and combat sport.
Okay, interesting find.
Found that obviously just like other combat sports, boxers use rapid weight loss methods. Whereas other studies have found that boxers don't necessarily do it to such a high extent. But then my study found that within the population that I used in England, obviously from up north down south, I have a lot of contacts across the nation in boxing. So I contacted a lot of them. I think my final number was 70 odd.
Jeez.
Okay. Quite quantitative, yeah, for sure.
You are. Yeah.
Quantitative, yeah.
We're going through that.
John loves his qualitative.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I hate statistics and stuff like that. I had to go with the transcribing what people were saying and stuff. I can't.
How many yours for that then?
How many? It was like 6 or 7, which is that's the advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just use 6, 7, but the time is spent analyzing what they've said. That's really super time consuming. So there's pros and cons for both methods, I guess.
Yeah, I was happy finding the means and standard deviations and finding some.
I just love how black and white quantitative is rather than qualitative, so subjective.
Yeah,
I've done both. So I've done qualitative on my master's, but my undergrad now. I think I still prefer quantitative.
It's just easier to handle, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's easier to draw graphs from and stuff, isn't it, rather than writing it all out.
100%. But one thing I won't miss is SPSS. Oh God, the bane of my life. That.
I even looked at it since my university is finished. And I don't think I will neither.
Oh, you should have seen some of the exams we had to do on our masters at Loughborough on SPSS. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like undergrad times a million. How hard it was. But
I uninstalled it instantly. Like once I was done with that module, uninstall SPSS from my computer. I'm never using that again. Yeah, wait. I'll probably have to.
Your coach, Shiney Singh, how important was he to you in developing as a boxer into the boxer you are today?
Yeah, he has had a very big impact, really. Whether it's the technical and tactical aspects, or whether it's just that quite recently I've said to a few people that his desire to be the best. Like I feel like he wants to be the best in the coaching. Well, he wants to be the top of the game in boxing himself. So that's a good thing for a boxer to have a coach who wants to be the best as well, isn't it? Like, and then obviously you both bring each other on. It's not just the boxer who wants to be the best; it's the coach who wants to be the best as well. Obviously you're both destined to do high things, aren't you? He's constantly developing himself as well, like the whole way through. Like he's always been looking to develop himself as a coach, whether it's to get on the England team for his coaching, whether it's to get himself the next level up on the coaching. He's on a UK coaching talent scheme program at the minute, where he's got like a superior coach who's obviously teaching him through different coaching skills, and whether it's the psychology, whether it's the tactical aspects of it, the whole works of it. So that's what I mean by he's constantly developing himself. So alongside, at the same time, that I'm constantly developing myself. So yeah, he has had a big impact. From the technical and tactical aspects, like I was all right boxing before I went to him, but like real little things like I don't know if you're good with boxing jargon, but like feinting and like when you stood in front of someone, you just like feinting and like tricking them into thinking you're going to do something, basically.
Yeah.
Moving head, having faster feet, like just being a better boxer. I developed myself, and the whole way through, like if I watch videos of early uni days, like that was a lot better than what I was before I started uni, and then halfway through uni I was a lot better then. And each time I thought, I'm getting there. And now I'm still realising like you're still getting there, because you're constantly progressing, you're constantly adding things into your game. And now we've turned professional, you got to change your style again, because you can't be so bouncing on your toes. You can't be so like boxing in and out. It's more so you got to plant your feet a little bit more when you do throw your shots, so you can get more power into it, so you can be an exciting fighter rather than just a point scoring fighter.
What do you think is the thing that makes the relationship work so well? What do you like from his maybe coaching style or his personality? What is it, would you say?
Like we just click. I feel like when in the ring, like we do genuinely just click when we're working together, like whether it's pad work, whether it's the drills that we do, because we do drills day in, day out, like we just connect on that. The pad work literally works like clockwork. Like we've done it like that much together now. He knows what I'm good at. I know what he's good at. So I do think that's what is a massive factor as to why we do so well.
Talking about that moment where you decided to go pro, was that a joint decision between you and your coach, or was it primarily you? And what made you decide that this was the moment for you to go pro?
I probably wouldn't have turned pro if it wasn't for COVID. I would have stuck around. We were looking to push like in the amateur game, like trying to push for GB, trying to win the nationals. The ABAs, that's what they're called. We're looking to really push on it and win one of them, because in the end of your amateur career, like how far have you got in you in that, like determines how good your contract is moving into the pros. Your amateur status is obviously the better contract you're going to get offered. But then COVID hit, so we missed the championships that we were due to go in, and I was hands down I was going to win the championships that year. We was flying the whole way through up in the lead up to that championships. Like I'd beat some real good kids. Stopped a couple as well. So like I was really on form, buzzing to go in those championships. Like I had a newspaper article in the Boxing News, like one of the biggest boxing magazines, and like even the author to that review, like article was saying that I was tipped to be to win them that year. I'd beat the national champion and Tri-Nations champion like the summer before. Like I was literally flying, I was due to win, and then COVID come, absolutely gutted me. Yeah, so we missed that year's championships, and from there it was just the case like how long was it going to be until we were going to be back in the ring. There was still professional boxing going on behind closed doors during the COVID times, so we thought realistically we've got more chance of boxing in the professional game than we have in the amateur game. And even if you won the ABAs, then you've got to wait for this your assessments and that up to GB. You got to be invited up there, which is another few months, and then obviously for them to make a decision, there's another few months. And by that time, I would have been definitely 24. So by the time I was having a look, and I would have been 25. And what you're going to do, wait another 2 years for the European Games? Like it would have been time. And then I was like, I'm 24 now, so in that sense, it's just the right time to start building our professional style and set off in style in the professional game. That was quite long-winded, wasn't it?
No, it was
spot on. That's what the listeners want.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. But it's really interesting that, so yeah, COVID, it really impacted a lot of people and a lot of athletes. And just going back to Holly, so she was explaining that she kind of treated that COVID period like an injury. So she decided to work on her weaknesses during that period. How did you go about coping with COVID? Did you use that opportunity to better your boxing, or was it really difficult to kind of cope with it?
Yeah, like I said, the professional game is a different style.
Yeah,
I've developed my style as such to suit the professional game a lot more. I'm a lot more aggressive in my boxing. I'm punching a lot harder. At the same time, during the lockdown, I was using somebody's garage. Obviously, gyms were shutting down, but I was using somebody's garage to make sure that I was hitting my S&C goals, building strength, building power, working alongside George Vernon. I don't know if you guys knew him from Cov Uni, but he's taken strength and conditioning, and I developed that really. That's my biggest thing coming out of the lockdown. Obviously, developing the styles, be punching harder, my S&C, those strength games that I've got. I always questioned S&C because it always made me so fatigued in the boxing gym. So I always thought that was the reason why I was fatigued in the boxing gym. But realistically, it's probably just because I was overdoing it, all my training, overdoing it. But now I've been lifting consistently the whole of lockdown. So a year and a half lifting consistently. Picking up the weights, going through the phases of training, and also my running. I stuck to that week in, week out. Just build myself better as an athlete. So yeah, those two, developing myself as a technical, the professional style, and then also making myself a lot stronger. Those are the two things that I worked on during the lockdown.
It must have been challenging because during that period, you guys didn't really have an end goal. You didn't really have a target. So I guess it must have been tough, waking up every morning, training, but you didn't know when you were going to step in. That's
my end goal would be an absolute beast, mate. That's
something we always talk about with the guests is, did you have any 5K competitions going on? Because I swear everyone did.
Yeah, there was a couple of competitions, but we didn't have any. We didn't have a 5K one. One group of lads that I know from over Bulkington, they all had End of Monday.
No, I'm just
they going. And basically it's just who can rack up the most miles, and the miles that some people were putting in were ridiculous. One lad jumped out there and started doing a marathon, literally just one day just stood up and just went and did a marathon. Everyone was like, what? And it comes to the last day, and one lad was behind by like something ridiculous, like 40 miles, and he went out there and did like a 45 miler just to win, like, and he finished just at the last minute. So the other lad got his running gear on, jumped out the door, video and saying, I'm going, and then there was a lot, mate, finished, like, you've lost. He's like, what?
Oh my god! Did they win it, or was it just for bragging rights?
Nah, just for bragging rights.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's all it is, isn't it? Like
The dedication.
The inner competitor.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's it. I was just thinking about all the stress fractures I was going to pick up by doing all that. But nah,
man.
Ollie was one of them during lockdown, trying to beat everyone's score and stuff.
Yeah, I've got that inner like competitor. I don't know why, but I'm super competitive.
The 5K one.
Yeah, it was just for my group of friends. None of us are athletes. It was just like who run the fastest 5K. Huh?
What did you get? What did you time?
Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Hey, you're gonna put me to shame. Hey, let's talk about your amateur career. No, but in terms of like you talk about your amateur career and the sort of competitions that you've done, let's talk about your achievements. So you won the senior elite lightweight gold at the Haringey. Is that how you say it? Yeah. I've never said that. Box Cup, which is the biggest box cup in Europe. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah, I used to bag myself 2 of them.
What was that? What was that like?
Oh, that's unbelievable! Like that is incredible. Obviously, the big one's the ABA's, like, but for boxing tournaments in England, well, obviously it's European tournament. Like anyone can come over. Well, actually, there was Finland turned up, Australia turned up. They had Italians there. I think it's Spanish as well. Canadians were there, so loads of countries were there. But yeah, it's quality. There's like 5 rings altogether because the amount of boxers is there. It's a 3-day tournament, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Obviously, you box whoever you box. You're in the draw, and that's what I loved about it. That's what box cups are so good, because it doesn't matter who's in front of you, whether it's the worst kid in the category or it's the best lad in the category. Like, you just got to fight them on the day and just like, you know what I mean, do the business to everyone. So you can't switch off. You got to be on the ball the whole way through. So yeah, that was incredible winning it. I mean, the first time I won it was a few years ago. Was real good as well. I boxed 2 lads from down in London. Probably wasn't expected to beat them. And then I boxed the lad who beat me a few years before that in the championships, and beat him as well. So winning that was classed the first time, but the second time was quality. The second time turned up the first day, got a stoppage, stopped the lad in the second round. Then the second day I boxed, that was the one where I beat the English champion, Tri-Nation champion. I beat him the second day. No one expected me to win. Obviously, he'd been blowing everyone out. He'd been on like a 27, something stupid, like 27 win streak. And yeah, so I beat him on the semis on the Saturday, and then on the final I boxed the lad who won the other English championships and beat him as well in that. So yeah, I was just on fire. And it's funny because obviously because you're boxing at such a high level, like it's the like you're boxing good lads in there, the whole lads, especially that semi-final day when I was boxing the Tri-Nation champion, like everyone had come from all the other rings around your ring, and everyone people stood around you watching you, and to have that kind of like audience in the amateur game, like, it's not seen too regular. And it's funny because like when I first started uni, I went out to Ireland, and I remember seeing like 2 quality lads boxing, and everyone left my ring to go and watch theirs. And I remember that being in the ring, being like, "Oh shit!" And then I thought to myself afterwards, like one day that's what I want. Like, that's what I'm gonna have. Obviously, everyone's gonna leave all the other rings and come watch me because that's how it should be. Like that's where the best kids are. And yeah, for that to happen that day was I'll remember that day for the rest of my life, definitely.
Come that final day, obviously you're fighting back to back. How is the recovery between fights? You must be knackered by the last day. Oh
yeah, you're knackered. You are
going up pure adrenaline.
Yeah, literally, and then you can't sleep as well because you're buzzing that you won. Like,
yeah.
So it's just Yeah, it's hard. I'm not even going to say it's easy because it's not. It's hard. And then I always like if I took a pre-workout or something and you had caffeine, like you're still buzzing at night time. You lay there in bed thinking, I'm in the final.
Can imagine.
That format, it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever watched the film Warrior with Tom Hardy. Man, what a film that is. And it sort of reminds me of that. Like, he just walks in, bang, comes out, and it just keeps doing it. What a film.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
First 30 seconds.
Yeah.
How do you kind of mentally prepare before stepping out to compete? Do you have like a strategy you use, like a psychological strategy, or you just go with the flow kind of athlete?
Yeah, it's chopped and changed, to be fair. While I was young, I was very much like, no one's going to beat me, like that's, and the whole way through camp I'd be like that. I'd be like just quite like, I don't really know what the word is, but like, no one's going to beat me. And in my head, no one would, and I'll get in there and just fight everyone and not always win, because I used to just fight everyone because I'd be really aggressive with it and just fight people. And then obviously I developed in the boxing a little bit more, like a little bit, become a little bit more technical. And yeah, so sometimes I did struggle with the nerves in the lead up. I always had a pre-performance route, talking to psychologists while I was at uni, using obviously the scholarship support. There was on about obviously pre-performance routines and having like rituals and this and that. So I stuck to it quite a lot. Obviously, like I have the same socks on, like even through the 3 days, it's a bit grim, but I'd still wear the same. If I won, I'd wear the same socks the next day and the next day. So little things like that would put me in better stead. But then I had one fight in the Bucks Championships in the final where literally my warm-up wasn't going right. How I listened to my music before I fight, like I listened to it a certain amount of time, like what I do before I fight, literally nothing was going right. So in my head, everything was going wrong. I thought, oh shit, I'm going to lose. I'm probably going to get knocked out. And it proper stressed me out. And then by the time I got into the ring, obviously I'm still thinking that. And then as soon as I stepped foot in the ropes, I was just like, nah, like, there's no chance this lad's beating me. Like, I am nailing it. So I just managed to switch off from it last minute. And obviously I smashed the fight as well. So that wasn't a problem. And that kind of like, that made me realise, like, you don't need pre-performance routines. You don't need anything to go right in the lead up. Because at the end of the day, what matters is when you're in there, like those minutes that you're boxing, like that is the determining factor. So it doesn't matter what goes on now. So I've got that approach now, even with my debut. Just like not one time during the warm up did I think about what I was doing as such. I just made sure I got warm, made sure I prepared myself for it. Because at the end of the day, like I know as soon as I get in them rings, like everything will be right. And that's one thing I have picked up on. I try not to have the pre-performance routines and that now, because obviously it didn't serve me too well. I just make sure I'm warm, make sure like I'm stretched, I'm ready to go. Yeah.
I suppose that's all what works for you. In terms of after you've touched gloves and you go back to your corner, what is what's going through your head during those moments?
I'm gonna smash this guy's head in. No, it's quite strange because like I had the conversation with a few people the other night. They're like, Jesus Christ, like why was you so angry? Why was you so? I was just like, I'm not. Like, I'm a very nice person outside the ring, like, and I pride myself on that as well. Like I don't give it, like I don't give people shit and that I speak to and stuff like that. Yeah, I do pride myself being a nice person. When you get in that ring, it's just a different story. Like it's like an alter ego, isn't it? I'm a different person. Like you switched on. At the end of the day, the task is to hurt them. Like you win the fight. If it means you're going to hurt them, like hopefully they don't come out the ring hurt. Like I even messaged the opponent from the other day, just like make sure he's all right now after the fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a brutal sport. So it's a tough sport. So especially when I go back to the corner and like I always touch Chinese glove. Just like, obviously that's when we're ready to go, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we're a team. But yeah, as long as I'm ready to go, that's all that matters.
It's like you have two identities. So like yourself in the ring and outside the ring. It's like Deontay Wilder, isn't it? Is it the Bronze Bomber or something like that, right?
Yeah. They call me the babyface bomber.
Love man, that guy's comments though on like him wanting to like kill people in the ring, man, it's just absolute waffle.
Nah, yeah, it shouldn't be said. Because it's boxing at the end of the day. Like you know, like it's like I know, like you can get hurt, can't you? Like the aim is you look to knock someone out. Like you're not, and there's no two ways about it. Like it's more entertaining for the fans. It's better for you if you do knock someone out, but hopefully, hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone just stay healthy, because obviously you are playing sport at the same time. Not doing sport, because you don't play this sport.
Yeah.
During your career, like obviously talking about Deontay Wilder and his recent fight with Tyson Fury, after the fight, I felt like his non-sportsmanship towards Tyson Fury, where it was just like, shit, I ain't got no respect for you, like just get out of my face. How did you find that? Have you ever had maybe a disappointing performance or a loss that sticks out in your head during your amateurs where, you know, that you've not wanted to show sportsmanship, or are you always, I don't know if you've ever lost or what?
Yeah. I've lost a few in my time. Quite a few in the early days, but I was never that way towards my opponent. Like, obviously, if they beat you, then fair enough. Like, shake their hand, because the same if you beat them, it's fair enough on you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't agree with like someone not respecting your opponent. Like I say, as soon as that bell goes to start the fight, I am that person. Like, you aim to hurt him, you got a job to do, so you get it done. As soon as the bell goes to stop the fight, that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? That it's over again. So you should be that nice person. You're respectful. It just bodes well better for me being that person.
Someone I find who's quite good in defeat.
There was one time when someone hit me after the bell, and I made sure to give it back. Like the bell's gone. Right, if someone come up to you in the street and hit you, you'd hit them back, wouldn't you? You wouldn't just stand there and let them hit you. He hit me after the bell, so I thought, nah.
What did you do? What, did you go after him straight away? Did the ref get involved or what?
Yeah, obviously the referee like just pulled it apart then, didn't it? But that's the only ever time that I've done anything that's slightly disrespectful. But if someone's going to disrespect me, like, they're going to get disrespected back.
There was a similar situation. Who was it again? Was it is it we
didn't know the name of it, you said.
Floyd Mayweather. He had a really debatable win, didn't he? Like a cheap shot, and like he KO'd someone. I saw that recently. Like, I didn't know that about him. That was a nasty shot. He
got headbutted, didn't he? He got headbutted, and was that when they were touching gloves, and then
they just spun his
Yes, it was that one. Like, touched gloves. The guy wasn't even protecting himself and just sparked him and won the fight like that.
This is the thing, isn't it? Like, it is, like, protect yourself at all times. The ref said box, so you should be ready to box, and the guy wasn't ready to box. He was like saying, "Oh, sorry," when he just headbutted him. So,
what do you think about that? Do you think he had the right to do that, or would you in that? What would you do in that situation? Would you do the same, or?
Oh, I wouldn't have done the same myself, but I could see where he's come from. To be fair, so he did he really like jumped into the headbutt as well. It wasn't just a little like naughty little touch. It was jumped into the head. So in that case, the ref had said box, so you don't have to touch gloves. Like, you don't have to touch gloves in this for this guy to have done that and not expect something back. It's just karma. They just got put out. Like,
I agree with Floyd Mayweather. Like, I think he had every right to do what he did. Like, he just got headbutted by someone. Yeah.
I don't know. Was he kind of like struggling during that boxing match? I'm not sure. That's what I think. That's why it was so controversial, was because he won like that, So I don't remember, but
yeah. Someone who's quite good in defeat that I find is Anthony Joshua. Like, the way he handles defeat, I find it. I respect him loads more. I don't know how he does that, and especially it's such a big occasion. Like, Anthony Joshua fights one of the biggest occasions, and for him to just handle it how he does, I mean, fair play to him. Like,
that's what sits well, doesn't it? Well, especially when you look at at that level, it sits well for the sponsors as well. For you to keep your cool, for you to be a good person, for you to be respectful, like, carry yourself in a good way. Like, it sits well in the public side as well. I know a fair few people who are like saying that Joshua's like, he's a bit scripted. Like, it's as if he's been told what to say. Like, he's like, it's not coming from him himself. But at the same time, like, if he is a nice person, if he is respectful, like, being that way when you do lose, obviously, it's just going to be better. It's a lot better than like start slagging someone off than that, isn't it?
The main reason why I respect Anthony Joshua is because like what he's got with sponsors and stuff. Like he's playing the game, you know. He's a self-made man, and he's absolutely killing it. Same for like Eddie Hearn gets a lot of stick, and I respect Eddie Hearn so much for how much of a businessman he is, you know. Are you team Fury or Joshua?
Me, team Fury.
Oof.
Yeah. I thought you would be.
Because it's nothing to do with Joshua as such. I probably prefer Joshua's personality and Joshua as a person, but boxing wise, I just think Joshua's getting done in that one. I think Fury just got too much about him to he'll get dealt with. Like,
yeah, 100%. I'm the same as you. Like, I think I prefer Joshua's personality, but Fury for sure would absolutely box him out of the park.
To be that size, to be able to do what he does, it's just ridiculous. Like, it's unspoken of. Like, who else do you know who's done that or can do that, being that big?
Yeah. Talking about obviously university to professional, what was that? How different was those two styles of fighting? So was it hard to adapt? Obviously, you've trained through COVID. How different are the two?
They are quite different, but at the same time, like, and how do I explain this? Like, in the amateur game, like, it's very much point scoring. It's very much like you land shots on the target area. So, like, obviously there on the stomach, if you land clean shots, you're not looking to really like hurt people as such. Whereas the professional game it's entertainment the same as well. Like, and obviously you go in longer, more rounds, aren't you? So obviously people do normally like settle their feet down and like plant their feet a lot more and move around less. But with my style, it definitely suits me to carry on being fast on my feet, to stay on your toes. Like, you do look at like the greatest southpaws out there, like your Lomachenkos, your Manny Pacquiaos and people like that. They've got very fast feet and they can consistently keep that going for the full fight. They're not slow with their feet. They just box that way.
Are you a southpaw then?
Southpaw, yeah.
I'm a very casual boxing fan. Like, why do people talk of southpaws being so awkward to box?
Yeah, they hate it. Everyone hates southpaws.
Why though? Because
it's where you're positioned. Like, for me, the best thing is you're a little bit further away as well. That's why it's good to be like a little bit higher on your feet as a southpaw and have fast feet, so you can shut the distance down and get your shots off. Because you are a little bit further away. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
is it something to do with like your primary hand, and like if they're right-handed, it's hard to fight a southpaw because of the different setup, you know? Yeah.
It's the positioning as well. Like, I would say if this was an orthodox person, the southpaw gets down the side of them there, so the back end comes down the middle and the lead up comes down the side. And people can't seem to suss that one out. Whereas if you're orthodox, obviously it's the other way around, so you're not clashing.
But
it's a tough one to explain without being able to show you like a
demonstration now.
But
and there's not a lot of southpaws, right? Is it rare also? Like, people don't really train to fight as southpaws, or am I wrong?
That used to be the case, but there's a lot more southpaws kicking about now. So especially like in the gyms I've trained in, they're making sure that they are training both, because there are a lot more southpaws these days than there was. I even know a few obviously normally southpaws are left-handed like I am. So your backhand is your stronger punching hand. But I do know a lot of right-handed southpaws as well now, because people are just choosing to switch to southpaw because it's obviously you have the advantages of the foot position.
What's it like when two southpaws fight? Is that then just like an even fight?
It's hard, isn't it? Because obviously you train to box an orthodox, so I'd be moving that one way. I'd be throwing the certain shots that work well against an orthodox. So when you do fight a southpaw, you have to switch it around again. It's like a orthodox. I recently sparred a southpaw. Like, he was a very good kid. and it was just strange because his jab was a lot closer, so you got to adjust yourself again. So
when you was training for your style, was that a conscious decision that you wanted to be a southpaw, or is it something that just happens naturally, like throughout you just learning the sport? Like how does that come about?
No, obviously I was left-handed, so when I was first taught to box, they said if you're left-handed, you're a southpaw, and that's just how it goes.
Right. Okay.
Like obviously moving through my career, it's not the case. You do have some right-handed southpaws who've got strong lead hooks. But me as such, I never used to box like a southpaw. I used to box like an orthodox. I used to stand like in the wrong place as such. For a southpaw, like really like in front of people. Whereas it's better for southpaws to work around the side of them, around the side of the orthodox, so you're not down the line, like in line with the backhand, with your opponent's backhand. So that's what I did transition with when I moved to uni. Working with Shiney, we worked like how to box better as a southpaw. Basically, like utilize those advantages that you do have as a southpaw.
Yeah.
And obviously, where a lot more of the wins come in.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk about the big one then, your debut in the pro. So like leading into it, what was that like? So what was it, the weigh-in? So what was that like? Is that different from what you've ever had before in terms of weigh-ins, or is it quite similar?
No, to be fair, everything felt new. Everything was like, I jumped into a new sport because there's cameras all there. It's on the Frank Warren, the BT coverage on the show, so it's on like a real big stage. So I've never been to a weigh-in where there's been cameras all pointing at the front and everyone stood in the room and like, yeah, you go up there yourself and you give it the old flex and that. Normally, like in the amateur game, you just line up. You're all like as strange as it sounds to non-boxers. You're all stood there in your boxes ready to weigh in, one behind the other, just like obviously one jumps on the scales, the weight gets dropped down, you walk off, next one, you just reel them off through. Well, this was like a proper occasion. Like I stood there, so I was thinking, what do I do? Where do I even go? And I went down there, jumped on the scales. I forgot to flex because my weight, basically I have to eat and drink before the weigh-in because I found out my opponent had come in like was coming in heavier. And when he actually got on the scales, he was 10 pounds heavier. Like, so
yeah, I remember seeing that on your IG. Like,
yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I was all right because he's quite short. He just had a big belly, so
right,
yeah, it didn't really bother me that much. It would have bothered me if he was about 6'2", and if he was 10 pounds heavier and 6'2", it would have bothered me a little bit. But because he was a little bit shorter, big belly, it didn't really bother me. I just thought, he's not going to be fantastic. But it was one of these where I'd cut to make the weight. So obviously we got told a certain weight, so I had cut to get down there, and then before the weigh-in, about half hour before the weigh-in, my manager came up to me and was just like, "What is your actual weight?" So we had to go upstairs and check my weight, and I was a little bit light for what I should be, so I had to eat some pasta and drink some water and that just to obviously bring my weight up. And then so I'd actually ate and drank, and he was still 10 pounds heavier than me.
Jesus.
So yeah, but the whole occasion was a bit mad. I'm glad I've done it once already because now I know, but it's definitely a lot different to the amateur game.
Mm-hmm.
Leading into that fight, so let's talk about fight day. What time was you sort of fighting? What time was the fight?
Yeah, it was all scheduled. Like, obviously, they give you. That's why it's a lot more professional in the professional game. Surprisingly, like it's a whole event, isn't it? So we had obviously the time list, and I was due to be on at 5:15.
Yeah.
So yeah, leading into it went.
Yeah, what was the lead up like up to that then? Was you nervous?
I'd say a little bit. Not. I was surprised how not nervous I was because obviously in the early stages of your career, you're boxing like pretty much journeyman on you in the boxing. Yeah, you're not going to be chucked in the deep end and have a real tough fight to start with. You have to get used to the whole different environment. So they do get you, like obviously lads who haven't won many, who do come to get the other lads' experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't nervous to fight the guy. I was probably nervous because I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to make a big statement coming into the professional game. A few people questioned how hard I was punching because obviously I was a very technical boxer in the amateur game. But then I wanted to show people like how hard I am punching and like how I am planning to progress in the professional game. that was probably more so what I was nervous about. But then in the lead up, I'd say I wasn't really nervous. I was just buzzing. As soon as I got to the arena, we had to get a taxi from the hotel to the arena, all paid for by them. We didn't have to pay for none of it, which was class. And I was just sat there in the taxi, just looking around, thinking, like, this is it. This is time. Like, I'm ready for this. This is definitely where I'm supposed to be. As soon as I got to the arena, same again. We got into the arena. We had a look around. We walked through the walkway where the ring walk is. Looked at the arena, and just nothing in me felt like I didn't belong there. Like, I definitely felt like I belonged there. And I was ready for that occasion. And that's how it was, really, the whole way up to the fight. Started getting warm, and just everything just felt right. Everything did feel right that day. The ring walk was quality. They messed up my walking song. It was supposed to be a Skepta song. They ended up putting Black Eyed Peas on.
Oh my God.
I bet you dream of that moment of coming out to your song as well.
And for years and years, I've told everyone my walkout song can be Skepta. I was spotting it's going to go off like mad, and ended up coming like Black Eyed Peas. What was it? That boom, 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 boom. Is it?
Oh my God!
I would have told him to re-up it. That I'd walk back in and go,
I'm not coming out.
Yeah. Oh God. So you got a stoppage. Before going into the fight, did you have like an outcome that you was going for, or a round, or was it mainly you just going to go in there and execute?
Yeah, I was going out there. The plan was to stop him. Like that's how I'm going to carry on being in the professional game. To be fair, I want to be an exciting fight. I want to be one of them fighters that people remember the fights, remember the occasion. I do want to be an exciting fight. I want to get the stoppages. I'm going to push for him every time. I train hard enough that I'm going for the stoppages. So if I'm training that way, that's what I'm going to do it in the ring at the end of the day. Like everyone always says, training is the preparation for the fight. The fight's won in training, really. So if I'm training for the stoppage is just gonna come. No, it's more likely to come anyway.
Yeah, me and John are gonna have to get ourselves down to some.
Yeah,
you should, man. You should. I've said to everyone, like a fair few people have come down to this one, and they all, as soon as the fight finished, I was talking to them, obviously saying thanks for coming out. They were like, "Oh, it's quality." They were like, "Oh, I'm going to bring all my mates and that now." You just have to be there to experience it. Like, for the crowd, it's an experience in themselves. Never mind for the boxer.
Yeah, I've never actually been to a boxing fight. I've always dreamt of going to one. So yeah, definitely, I'm definitely going to get myself down.
Yeah. Honestly, you should let me know. I'll sort out a ticket.
yeah, for sure. So, go on, John.
I just had a quick question. Did you learn anything from that kind of event about maybe yourself, or how you're gonna handle yourself in next fights, or
it's gonna be learn. What did I learn? It's gonna be a similar story, like I said, going out there, and especially early on in this career, to stop people to be an exciting fighter, to put the pressure on fighters. To be punching hard, so it's just going to be a demolition job from now on. About it, I'm very glad that I've done the first one now, because obviously, especially the weigh-in was a strange experience. It was a strange experience going to a massive, a big arena, like the utility arena is, because it's not like a little social club where you box in the amateurs. But like I said, it just the shoe just fit on the night, and I do feel like the shoe's just going to fit moving forward, because this is where I'm supposed to be.
Love that. I'm gassed.
Come on. It gets like that though. It's a bit mad. It was definitely a surreal experience, but yeah, it's a bit mad.
What are the main objectives for your career now going forward in the pro game? What do you want to set out to achieve? Let's say you look back at your boxing career when you've retired. What do you want to have achieved by then?
Yeah, it's a massive one for the domestic scene, isn't it? The British title. I definitely want to set my sights on a British title. And it's hard to say. A few people have asked me, and that is my minimum to get a British title. But from there, the professional games is a sport in itself. You start from a clean slate, don't you?
Yeah.
So whether you're a good amateur or a bad amateur doesn't mean you're going to be a good or a bad professional. That's just how it works. So I'm just excited to see where I can take it. I'm excited to see how the development goes over the years. I've signed on to Frank Warren for 3 years now. So by the end of the 3 years, I'm excited to see what position I am, because it's going to obviously determine which direction I'm going to go. Just going to take it here by there, make sure I'm hitting all my training goals, make sure like I'm as strong as I can and as fit as I can, and obviously the results will come from that.
In terms of your weight class, who's like the top boy in your weight class at the moment in the pro scene?
You got the likes of like Joe Cordina. There's is it Anthony Cacachi? Just beat Leon Woodstock.
Okay. Leon Woodstock's from I'm from Leicester, so I swear he's from Leicester. I think.
He's a good lad, Leon. I've spied him a few times over at Leicester Uni. They've been over He's a good lad, man.
There's a couple of guys like CJ Challenger.
My pal as well.
Yeah, no. Do you know of like, I swear, Apollo Boxing? I don't know if you know of them. They put on shows in Leicester, and they're getting quite big. Like some of the things, and the promo they do for amateur, I find is crazy.
Yeah, it's good for the amateur scene. There's a lot of clubs that are taking on more things, and for the amateur scene to have big shows, it's just class for the kids.
Yeah,
that's where the boxers are made at the end of the day. So if you can make the experience for the boxers a lot better, you're more likely to get the boxers to stay on and carry on.
Yeah. Do you think you'll stay in your current weight class, or do you think you'll ever dot between different ones?
No, I'm comfortable where I am. I'm a good size for super feather. I haven't yet made super feather. Obviously, I boxed the super lightweight the other day. I weighed in at lightweight. But I do think, obviously, with the knowledge that I gained while I was at university doing that sports nutrition masters, I did research a lot about the weight cuts and how to do it. And I'm blessed in the fact that I do sweat a lot, so it's very easy for me to sweat out some more weight. Yeah. I will stay at super feather, so whether I can make feather or not, we've got to see how we go. I won't be stepping up the weights though. I'll definitely stay at super feather. It's the best weight for me.
We've got another lad who sweats a lot.
Shut up! I knew you were gonna say it.
As soon as you said you sweat a lot, John knew I was gonna say it.
You should see me in the gym. Like I sweat so much, but even in everyday life,
show us the pits.
Nah, I'm not showing anything. I'm not showing anything. I'm not exposing myself once again. Nah, but literally, even like the coach was telling me, like, I swear you're like the person in the gym that sweats the most. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Don't worry, mate. I'm that person as well. Like,
so annoying.
Yeah. Like by the end of it, like when we finish a tough bag session, like there's sweat all around the floor, like where I've been. Like, you know where I've put it that way.
Sign of a hard worker.
Yeah, marking your territory.
Yeah. I'm interested to see the pits now.
Come on, John.
I'm not showing anything. Are you crazy? I'm never gonna expose myself. There's a video on our Instagram a few months back. You'll see.
Oh god. But no, moving on, because don't embarrass John anymore.
Yeah, sorry.
In terms of the psychology of boxing, something that I've started asking all the guests in terms of their sport. Because for any kids looking to develop as a boxer, if they are to develop these psychological qualities that you think make a successful boxer, then they can do that. So what psychological qualities do you feel make a successful boxer, or have been integral to you being so successful and making the professional game?
It's that self-confidence. I'd say self-confidence without the arrogance. I do. Arrogance is a negative trait to have. I feel like if you can be confident in yourself and be a nice person at the same time, it takes yourself a long way. But the biggest one for me is resilience. Within boxing, because at the end of the day, not every fight's going to go the way you want it to go. I lost 25 of the 75 that I had in the amateur game, but each time, you just dust yourself off, you go again, and that's a psychological trait that you can take through your whole life. That ability to dust yourself down and go again, is a very very good trait to have. Even through the training. Obviously, then you pick up injuries along the way. Whether your training sessions ain't going well, your life's going bad alongside your boxing, away from your training. You still got to stay resilient. You still got to work hard. You still got to grind it out to get the best out of yourself. So yeah, like I said, that plays in the boxing, that plays away from it. That resilience is sort of something that the best boxers all have.
Okay.
I'm curious, have you ever worked with a sports psychologist during your career up to now, or?
Yeah, I've worked with a couple now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple. Obviously, while I was at uni, I worked with. I did see a couple. Yeah, and then my mate's done. I don't know if you'd know him actually. He did sports psychology at Loughborough. Elliot Sharp, you know.
I've heard the name before. I think I've seen him on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah, rings a bell.
Is he ginger?
Yeah, ginger lad.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best mates he is.
Oh, nice.
He's killing it now, working at Villa and that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing real well. I've done a few sessions with him, and the sessions I did with him was quality. It was more like, it was really like breaking things, like to look at things deeper, like why was I thinking a certain way, rather than, I've done quite a lot of stuff with the psychological skills, but the work of Elliot was really good and really opened my eyes up to how I can develop in psychology, not just looking at psychological skills, looking at everything as a package. Like,
what was he doing? Was he kind of like, tell us more. What did the kind of sessions look like? Was it more you leading it, or?
Yeah, it was a bit mad. This is what I couldn't get my head around to start with, because he was kind of like asking me questions and then like making me answer them, and he was just like, what do you feel like you need to do, and what do you? And I was just like, well, no, you're the psychologist. You can tell me what to do, not what should I. But that's how it was so much different to the other sessions I've had. Rather than being told what to do, he was like, open it up. So I was finding the answer to what I needed to do. And then also it was things like, before one of the sparring sessions, I was saying about how like I wasn't confident what doing. I was frustrated because one of the sparring sessions didn't go very well, and he was like, well, hang on, I'll break it right back. He's like, what are you good at? Rather than kicking yourself up for what's not going well at the minute, he was like, break it down. Like, what are your best traits, and what can you do that you know you're going to do well, that you can stick by. So when things aren't going right, what can you revert back to? And it was like, geez, like, actually, yeah, there are certain few things that I do really well that separates me from the rest. And rather than trying all these new things, this was during the development of trying to take on the professional style. It was kicking myself because I wasn't getting things like as fast as I want to. So yeah, so being able to revert back to what I was actually good at, and the things I do well. In the next spot, I was flying, because obviously I tried a few new things, but then continuously kept coming back to what I was good at. So the spar did go very well for me, and I spanked him a lot after that.
Yeah, it's really interesting you bring that up, because something we really tried to promote during this podcast is that there's different styles of sports psychologists, and the fact that you've maybe tried something like that, those psychological skills, realize they're not really for you, but you've tried another sports psychologist who's got a completely different style, and that sort of works for you. And it's the same with like boxing, the different styles. There's different styles of sports psychologists, and it's different for everyone in what works for them. It's just about finding that. So if anyone out there has tried a sports psychologist, you know, if you have a bad experience, it's not the end of the world. Try a different one, you know, and it'll probably work for you in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I questioned what Elliot was doing with me to start with, because obviously I'd never seen it before. So obviously, going from what I learned myself a little bit, doing a little bit of psychology in sport and exercise science, master, undergrad and that, you learn about psychological skills. So when I'd never actually seen it in practice, what he was doing, I questioned it. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this with me? But then if I just stuck it out and tried it, and what Elliot does is very beneficial. Very, very good.
Yeah, for sure. But in terms of all the questions we had for you, they were all the questions, but we obviously asked our social media if they got any questions for you. And this is sort of the segment where me and John just reel them off one for one, getting your insight into the questions they asked you. So the first one is, obviously, I feel like you've already answered this. It was, where do you see yourself in the prime of your boxing career? You said the British title. Is there anything else you'd want to build off that question? Or
world title, mate. We're not stopping in there. Like,
okay,
the sky's the limit, isn't it? In boxing, that's what I've come to realise. Look at a lot of the world champions in boxing. They're not amazing boxers. All you got to do is win on the night. It's just got to be your night. So you've just got to be better than that person in front of you on that night. You don't even have to be better than the person in front of you. You just have to land a clean shot on the end of the chin, and it's a game over for you, and you win a world title. So that's why boxing's so good. That's another reason why I chose to pursue boxing, because like, you don't have to be the best boxer, you don't have to be the best athlete. Like, boxing, just if the shoe fits, the shoe fits. So anyone's got the chance.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second question was, if you have kids, would you want them to follow the boxing career as well?
I would. Yes,
Okay.
probably. It all depends what they wanted to do, isn't it? Like that's the be all and end all. What do they want to do? Yes, I'm going to put gloves on the end of their fist from the day they're born. But nah, to be fair, I've had some very, very good experiences, but I've had some very bad experiences through boxing as well. So it's very much up to them. What would they want to do? I wouldn't push them massively.
Yeah. Okay. And then the final one is, what's your main motivation when training?
When training to better myself as an athlete. I've said it many times. I want to be the best athlete. I want to be the best boxer. It's that continuous progression. Like I've just got to strive to better myself. Whether it's in the ring, whether it's out of the ring, I have got that strive. If I'm not doing anything, I feel like I should be doing something.
Yeah.
So that is one of the main ones. The other one is I do always look back to my family. Like I want to bring boxing. I want to bring great nights. I want to bring success to my family. They are massive motivators for me.
Yeah, 100%. That's a big one for me as well, family.
I think the biggest thing for me, like, it's a little bit cheesy, like, but my niece put on like a Team Owen t-shirt, man, and that's what I've dreamed on. Like having the kids of the family put on your kit and like be there to support. Like I was getting a little like, emotional when I was there. I was like, wow, like one of them like eureka moments. Like that's what you wait for. That's what you dreamed of, and it's happening.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and those moments are just the best ones you cherish when you're older as well, for sure. Yeah. No, but they're all the questions we had for you. Thanks so much for coming on, man. It's been an unreal chat for this like hour and 20 minutes. I've properly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think so.
It has.
I just checked the time.
I'm literally I've been moving hours all day. I'm so tired.
We've drained you.
Yeah. No, but yeah, thanks so much. Normally we give this moment if you want to shout anything out, all your socials, and that will be in the description of the YouTube video. Is there anything else you want to shout out?
No, I just want to say thanks a lot, lads. Cheers for having me on, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Doing as well. Nice one, lads.
We'll be supporting you in your future fights.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, look out for tickets, guys.
Yeah, we'll be there.
I got that in for you then. But no, if you could please share this with your friends or someone you feel will benefit from it. Most importantly, like, subscribe, comment down below any questions or guests you'd like us to get on in the future. Also, go follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Links will be in the description of the YouTube video. Other than that, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.